Christopher Alexander's book A Pattern Language gives us a new way to think about architecture. It focuses on making buildings and places that feel good to live in. Alexander says that everyone, not just architects, should have designed the space they live in. What is a pattern language? In the book, a pattern is a common solution to problem in a building or its design. There are 253 patterns in the book. Each one shows a problem and then gives a good way to solve it. When we use many patterns, together it becomes a pattern language. This language helps people design homes, cities, or even cities in a more human and natural way. How do we use patterns? The patterns are written from big to small scale. Big scale, cities, transports and public places. Medium scale, houses and gardens. Small scales, rooms, windows, lights and furniture. Each pattern connects to other patterns. This helps people use them like building blocks. Instead of using fixed plans, people can mix patterns to create something that fits their needs and feelings. Why is the book important? Alexander thinks modern buildings often feel cold or uncomfortable. They look nice, but people don't enjoy living in them. A pattern language tries to fix this problem. The books help us make a place that it feels peaceful and natural. Help people talk and meet each other. The book isn't just about buildings, it's about how we live. Here are a few patterns from the book. Front porch, pattern 140. A small space between the house and the street helps people feel safe and also meet neighbors. Light on two sides, pattern 159. Rooms feel better if light comes from different directions. Small communicates, pattern 12. It's better to live in small groups where people know each other. One of the most special things about this book is that it lets people, not just architects, take part in design. Alexander believes people know what feels good, so they should have built their own homes and cities. He also says patterns can change or grow over time. The book isn't a rule book, it is a guide to help us build better places.
After the 1960s, architecture shifted from isolated objects to relational files. The concept of file conditions refers to design based on local connections, repetition, and processes. Classical architecture is centered on symmetry and hierarchy. In contrast, the Cordoba Mosque features a modular, repetitive structure with no fixed center. Space is shaped through experience, and the structure produces a file through the relationship of its parts. Minimalist artists focused more on the viewer's experience than on the subject itself. Artists like Donald Judd promoted modular, repeatable, and component-based works. Leva's works dissolve the object-graph distinction. The file is no longer fixed but defined by densities, transition, and local relationship. Overlapping repetitions create complex visual effects. This challenges traditional architectural notation of surface. Cities are no longer read by clear borders but through intensified surfaces. In systems like Reynolds with model complex patterns emerge from simple local roles. Architecture can also adopt self-organizing decentralized structures. Anarchist translated crowd movements into music through graphics notation. His method inspires architectural systems based on time, density, and flow. Contemporary architecture is no longer object-centered. It is relational, modular, and process-based. Spaces are not static objects but constantly shifting interactions.
Christopher Alexander thinks good architecture should feel right and natural to people. A space shouldn't only look nice or be useful. It should also give people feelings of peace, safety, and belonging. To do this, he used something called a pattern language. A pattern is a common problem in daily life, and each pattern gives a simple solution. For example, where to put windows or how to design a neighborhood can be patterns. By putting many patterns together, we can make buildings that work well and feel comfortable. Alexander wants everyone, not just architects, to help their spaces. For him, architecture should be a human and shared process. Alan's idea of field conditions means that design shouldn't be one big fixed thing. Instead, it should come from the way small parts connect and work together. He looks at nature, cities, and computer systems as examples. In the systems, no one part is the leader. Everything works as a group. Alan says architecture should also be open, flexible, and able to change. The designer isn't someone who controls everything, but someone who builds the rules of system. Field conditions show that in complex places, we need flexible and open designs, not just one perfect answer.
Christopher Alexander and Stan Allen present different views on how designers create order and coherence in architecture. Alexander sees the designer as a guide who uncovers and follows naturally emerging patterns to create harmony in the building environment. His approach emphasizes human experience, timeless forms, and organic unity. In contrast, Allen changed centralized control, viewing the designer more as a strategist who sets up flexible systems rather than fixed forms. For Allen, coherence comes from the interactions within the field, not from imposed structures. Thus, while Alexander aims for inherent order through established patterns, Allen embraces open-ended frameworks that evolve over time. Alexander tends to resist complexity and contingency, favoring clear patterns and stable, universal design principles that foster emotional comfort and clarity. His vision of architecture is rooted in timeless qualities and predictable spatial experiences. On the other hand, Allen fully embraces complexity, change, and contingency. He argues that architecture should respond to dynamic systems and shifting context, rather than imposing static solutions. While Alexander seeks control through simplicity and order, Allen accepts uncertainty as a generative force in design. Their contrasting views reflect deeper tensions between stability and adaptability in architectural theory.
In our view, a less open-ended meeting has more political, while Alexander's human-centered painted local focuses on familiar spatial patterns and human needs. It can sometimes be too rigid. Alice's approach by emphasizing complexity and adaptivity better addresses the unpredictable and dynamic nature of today's building environment. This flexibility allows architects to design systems that can evolve and adapt over time.